is workers don't workers don't take time off so they can save days. Yeah. And I know I do the same thing. Again, I'm making a connection. Me too. Even if I have 10 sick days, I always try to save at least 2 or 3 in case I get all of a sudden actually sick and can't literally get out of bed and make it to school. I'll at least have some days to fall back on. So I do the same thing.
Wait, so you for real only get like 10 days off? Like,
I'm being for real, yes.
like you can't get no time off after?
No.
So you have to go to school?
Yes. I'm sure they're,
obligation to come.
to tell you the truth, I mean, if there was like an emergency, I'm sure I could take off and it would just be unpaid leave. Like I just wouldn't get paid. So
Oh wait, so the 10 days are paid leave?
Yes.
And then the rest that you miss is just as you, like you don't get paid more?
I wouldn't get paid for those days I missed. But also, I mean, again, I'm modeling that making connections reading strategy. I'm kind of activating my own knowledge as I'm reading the text to get a better understanding. And I'm being for real with you guys. And so with the 10 days, talking about that, I would never go over the 10 days. Like I wouldn't.
I'm trying to get 20 days, that's crazy.
Unless, like I said, I just literally, like, it was completely unavoidable, but I would just think that's a little unprofessional. There's no need for me to take more days.
What that says is workers don't take any days off.
I said that they don't like to, so I just put in my own words and made it short, since it was just an annotation, and I could make it longer if I wanted, but again, the annotations are your own, so as long as you can understand your margin notes, that's all that matters. And so my margin note is just a reminder to me, kind of saying, oh, I do the same thing. I don't like to take all my days off because I want to save them, just in case I actually do get sick. So that's one reason why Japanese workers don't take time off, for fear that they might actually get sick. So maybe that could be a piece of evidence. I'm kind of giving you a hint of what's to come. You might want to mark that. So moving on with chunk number 7. It says Wakeby himself took only 5 days of respite. So there's one of our vocab words right there, respite, meaning rest. So Wakeby himself took only 5 days of respite from work in 2014, one of them for staying home with a cold. He did manage to take a vacation to Hawaii with his family, however. Oh, how wonderful. He got to spend at least some time with his family. That's good. Japanese workers also tend to work long days. About 22% of Japanese workers put in more than 49 hours a week, compared with 16% of Americans and 11% of the French and Germans. So I'm going to mark that fact, because again, I said I know I'm going to have to respond in writing. I know I'm going to have to use text evidence in my writing. And this seems like a really good piece of text evidence. It really kind of answers that question of what is working too hard. From looking at this, I can see that 22% of Japanese workers compared to 16% of Americans. So Japanese workers overall work harder than Americans, and the French and the Germans. So overall, the Japanese culture, it seems like they work harder than us or a lot of other countries too. So they do work hard, answering my question. And this was according to data compiled by the Japanese government. So moving on, chunk number 9. Still, this dedication to work takes its toll on Japanese workers. It can be a struggle to find time for friends and family. In addition, constant work can lead to health problems, including heart attacks and depression. I'm like really freaked out about having a heart attack because I could totally see that happening. I drink too many energy drinks. And depression, health problems. So I'm going to start again. I'm marking my evidence. These are all reasons why. So I'm actually going to write that in my margin notes. Reasons why workers should take time off. And I'm doing this so I can navigate the text more easily. whenever I go back to dig a little bit deeper and to respond in writing, up until this point, they've kind of been, and now I'm taking a step back and I'm almost doing the second reading. Up until this point, the author has really just been describing kind of the problem. So thinking about text structure, they presented the problem. They also have the question, why don't Japanese workers take time off? So there's this question, why they don't take time off. And now we're shifting kind of to another big idea in the text. It's shifting to reasons why they should take time off. So I have my reasons why they don't. Now they're giving the reasons why they should.
Wait, so these are the reasons why for 8 and 9?
Yes.
Wait, so I'm thinking that I could probably mark for where that question is, section 8 and 9 answer.
Good. Perfect. And that's exactly what I know. It's hard for me to do the annotations and see that it's in the window. But notice how, yeah, I circled this several times because that was a shift. Before that, it was the problem, and I wrote down the side. Now we're moving on to another big idea. They're going to give evidence. Evidence. Remember, we're looking for evidence. That's our focus for today's lesson.
Wait, miss, are we gonna get like questions on this or something, or
Yes,
just
you
reading
are. You are going to get questions, yes. Like a key 3000. So here's the evidence for why they don't take time off. Then here's the evidence for why they should take time off. So I'm kind of breaking the text down into these different sections and kind of labeling it. So again, I can see how those parts are all working together, and I can navigate the text more quickly. So I'm gonna go ahead, we're almost done. There's only a couple more chunks here. So going to the back, it says as a result, so this kind of shows me cause and effect, the reasons why they should. And because of the reasons why they should, the result of that is that change may be on the horizon. In early 2015, lawmakers proposed new legislation. There was that word that meant rules that we figured out with context clues earlier. Proposed new legislation or new rules and laws that would ensure workers get the rest they need. One plan requires workers to take at least 5 days of paid vacation each year. And again, that's kind of evidence, so I'm marking it. While another proposal limits how much overtime pay some workers can receive. So that's another reason. If they limit how much overtime pay you can receive, like if they told me I get 10 sick days and I have to take 5 days off, that no matter what, I will not get paid for those 5 days. I'm sorry, but I'm probably not going to come in. Like if I'm not getting paid for it, I'm probably going to do some other things that I need to do, right? So that's kind of like a big incentive. If you don't get paid for working, then I think that would definitely persuade some of the workers to maybe take their time off. So without the promise of overtime pay, supporters allege, again, our vocab word, employees will presumably not devote as many extra hours to working. But others maintain that the legislation may not have the intended effect, since workers' motivation for putting in overtime is often not to make extra money. Long work days are seen as part of the job. And again, that does make sense, I get that. So, section 11, Japan is a culture that falsely beautifies long hours, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe explained. Now Abe and many other Japanese lawmakers are hoping this is something they can change. Alright, so let's go ahead and answer some questions. To make sure that we got the gist, that we have a basic understanding of the text. And we're also running out of time.
Yeah.
So for the literal understanding, I think you guys got this. Ovel, you were answering some questions. Alicia, you were clarifying any questions that you had while we went. So thank you both of you for participating, being engaged. So, what's the problem being discussed in the article?
That workers in Japan work too much and don't want to take no time off.
Perfect, good. So, Ovel, let's kick it over to you. What are some of the possible results of this problem?
They may not get paid enough, so they may not show up to work.
Well,
Well, that was one of the things that underlined that you were talking about.
yes,
They don't
so,
receive
so you gave me a possible solution to the
Okay.
problem, so that's good.
possible results.
So possible results of this problem. So let's think about reasons why workers should take time off.
Lawmakers propose legislation that would ensure workers get the rest they need.
Exactly, excellent.
That's a result, I think.
Yes, and you use text evidence, so good job going back into the text, and using that. So the possible results, they might get the rest that they need. If, as Odell said, the solution, they start putting laws into place that make workers get that rest.
And
Because if not, what might happen? Odell, I see you
it
found it.
looks like the health effects, including heart attacks and depression, which sometimes become so acute that they're life-threatening.
Perfect. So Alicia, do you see that in the text? Where was it, Odell? Can you direct her?
Section 9, the last sentence.
Thank you. So section 9, the last sentence. So it says, in addition, constant work can lead to health problems, including heart attacks, depression, which sometimes can become so acute that they're life-threatening. So good. So those are some of the results of this problem. The problem, as Alicia told us, they're working too much and don't want to take time off. The result of that is that there could be some negative health effects. It could even be life-threatening. And so one possible solution, as Ovell told us, is that they're going to put some laws into place to kind of make them get the rest that they need. All right, good job. So you guys have the literal understanding, that first layer of our pyramid, what does the text say? So then for the second read, dig a little deeper. For the second read, you read it again and you begin to interpret it. You might note repeated words or phrases, the purpose. Like I said, I kind of went into the second read already, so we're going to skip the second read and I'm going to let you guys do the guided practice or the collaborative practice. I made those connections to my own life or maybe other knowledge that I have. Develop understanding of the author's message or make judgments about the text. So again, how does the text work? You're digging a little bit deeper, thinking about that author's purpose, thinking about the text structure, which we talked about how it was kind of organized by presenting the problem and then giving the reasons why they should take some time off, what the results might be, and then offering us a solution to the problem. So we already talked about kind of the text structure and maybe the author's purpose about informing us, explaining this issue. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and go on to, well, let's do this actually. This is going to be the questions, the digging deeper. So for this section, you guys need to really kind of go back and find the text evidence, which again, you guys did a really good job. Overall, you were pointing out that text evidence as you answered. So let's just do the level 2 questions, and then I'll move on to explain your guys' assignment. So number 1, how much time off is offered to workers in Japan each year? So go back to the text. Again, this is why annotations can be helpful to navigate a little more quickly, or if you highlighted.
Wait, miss, what you asked, how many days?
How much time off is offered to
Oh,
workers?
20 days. Isn't it 20?
Wait, how many? Where was that to the text?
Paragraph 2, it says employers are mandated to offer 10 days of paid leave to people who have worked for 6 consecutive months, gradually increasing to 20 days of paid time off for employees who have been with the company for more than 6 years.
Excellent, perfect. That's the best piece of text evidence to answer that question. So good job. So they're offered 10 days and it can increase to 20.
So that's their 10 days off in 20 days? Or 6 months? What should
6 years.
Yep. So 10 days off for people who have worked for 6 consecutive months. And as I was annotating, I kind of put that consecutive into my own words. I said for 6 months in a row. So you get 10 days off for working 6 months in a row. And then it says gradually it will increase to 20 days for employees who have been there for 6 years. So 10 to 20. So good job. Number 2, how many days off do they actually take?
It says, according to law, workers may carry over their time off from one calendar year to the next. This means that an employee only uses 5 out of 10 days off during the year of employment to take 15 days off next year. And it said that one lady got 20 paid vacation days and she only took 8.
Okay, good. That's a better piece of text evidence. So that first piece of text evidence, why would that maybe not be a good quote to support your answer?
Because it doesn't really say, it just says that some employees only use 5 out of 10 days,
Yeah.
but then they give an example of